Hey, good morning, everybody. Alright, here's the deal. Today, we're going to be taking this rear end apart. We're pulling the bearings, pulling the seals, pulling the rear differential, drive shaft, everything. We're going to make this thing great again. Alright, I've already done the passenger side, which would be your right side, right? Because, well, you picture it like you're sitting in the vehicle. Now, what we've done, we've already gone and pulled the axle out. Already replaced the axle shaft seal here. Already busted all this apart. Pulled the axle shaft out of another vehicle. I got a parts vehicle. Already swapped it, replaced the bearings on it. I'll show y'all a trick that I end up using since I don't have a press. I did it the old school, stubborn way. Now, I ordered my bearings online. Here's the bearing set. We're looking at, here you go. Part number, you can read. This is for a 94 4runner. I called Toyota itself and talked to them. All the rear axles, T100, 4runners, all of them are the same thing up until I think 95, 96 when they started going to a wider axle. But kit comes with bearing, axle shaft seal, let's see, and then it also comes with the rubber dust boot, and then the metal ring, retention ring that holds the axle shaft or the bearing onto the axle shaft. So as you can see, here's where the dust ring or the dust boot actually sits. Your bearing sits here, then you have your retention ring that sits here, and the clip goes here. I have another one out here already pulled apart that I can use as an example for you. And we get up close. This bearing wasn't too bad, but there is play in her. And pending how things go. The one that's inside, everything seemed to come apart pretty well. The one axle shaft that I pulled first off of the parts rig, it came apart fairly easily. The one that I pulled off of the right side on the passenger, she'd been getting hot so long that everything bonded onto the main shaft, and it was quite difficult. But I'll show y'all a trick that I use to get this apart here in a little bit. See you in a bit. Come back. Okay, gotta do a trick. Alright. So the drum brakes around here, we gotta get the drum brakes off. As you can see, you got some pilot holes around here. And some are threaded. Some are supposed to be threaded. And this one don't feel like it's threaded too well. Oh no! this is 13. This one's going to be interesting. This one looks like there's no threads on the inside of it to be able to drive this stuff out, so we're just going to have to go slow and easy. Run in a little. That one has nothing to it. Crap. Maybe we can get a little bit of action in her. That seems to work. Offset. Hit it. I should keep walking. Ta-da! Sometimes you just gotta be stubborn. Don't breathe this shit. Okay. Another drum done. Now, from here, you have your brake assembly spring right here. You'll have to remove it, pull it back. There's a little tiny retainer here. Then on the back side, we have 4 bolts, well, 4 nuts, and a brake line. Okay, so we got the brake cable off of there. It just holds into here. Easiest way to get this is to grab a hold of the spring, pull it back, and then you can take you a pair of needle nose and grab hold of the end and pull it up and out of that saddle. Now it comes through, goes into the back side of the housing. 2 10mm bolts. Pink. Number 1. And right up underneath, number 2. Okay. Now, once we pop, so now, gotta pop the brake lines. Oh, this is a 10mm. When it comes down to the brake lines, don't try to push slow and steady. You're just never going to get there. Sometimes little sharp, crisp motions give a little bit of shock to it, and it works the best. But then sometimes you forgot a collecting device. Here, we got a cap for a brake line. Okay. Broke loose. Ready to come off. These nuts are 14 mils. Pretty easy, but sometimes they're a little stiff. So just take you a wrench, double up, give a little smack. Give a little smack. Give a little pull. And give a little pull. Oh. There we go. Okay. So now we got our nuts loose and our brake line loose. I'll pop all this off of here, or get them down to the end, and then we'll show you as we pull this apart. Alright. We got our 4 nuts out the way. Like I said, 14 mil. So now we're coming back in on the 10 mil brake line. If you ever have your brake line like this, and you get to a point where it starts to bind, stop trying to push it, come back into it, work. As you do that, it'll clear the threads and go easier. It's that way with any nut and bolt. All that rust and dust and crap gets stuck in there, makes life 10 times more difficult. Take your time. Make it great. And yeah, we're going to have some fluid coming out. You know. Notice I didn't keep driving it. I should just let go right there. Yep. Okay. Now we got that off. Pull forward a little bit. Slide your e-brake cable out. Out the whole axle shaft. Ta-da! Okay, now that we got that off, where'd our little red bit go? There it is. Cap, put on there, save your fluid. Let's get you out here so you can see what we got going on. Let's see, come here. Oops, sorry. Ah, coffee. You see, we got her out. Now, just the axle seal. I'll clean this up before we start taking it out of here. Now, I will say that I do wish one thing when it came down to ordering these kits. This little O-ring right here. I really do wish that the bearing kits automatically came with one. You have to replace that. Don't reuse it. But you can see we got a little bit of rust action in here. There we go. We got some rust in here. We'll take the wire wheel too. Now note the mounting depth on your seal. It's actually flush. Actually, it's just a tiny bit above the outside ring. Which means I drove the one on the other side just a little too far. I'm going to have to take that thing back apart. But, get your handy dandy hooky bendy tool. Reach in. Pop her out. Catch all your snot. There we go.
see it on the other side.